Hi, Anti-Society. Welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet. Today we are checking out some more Tower of God Webtoon, and we're going into Bomb versus Kaiser for this one because we ended up the last chapter with the Bomb making a grand entrance, right? After getting some help from Shibisu and deciding that, you know what, I don't have to hold back anymore because if you don't have hostages of my friends, then I don't have a reason to not go full power. And that is like both scary but also a little bit exhilarating. Does that make sense? Where I'm like, yes, claim that power for yourself, okay? Like, I love that Bum is like starting to grow into someone who like understands that he has like autonomy, can use his power for what he wants and is able to make decisions. This is really a lot of growth for him considering where we started in a lot of the storytelling, right? Not just like season 1 stuff, but even like season 2 as I get further and further along in it. It's been a long journey, but it's nice to see him making some decisions for himself. So I'm assuming we're going to be getting into some of that. I don't know if we're going to check back on like Endorsi and Hats, but there's also some other fights going on at the same time. Scary Bomb time. As you requested, I'm going to use all of my strength. Yeah, what a face off on like this cushion. Oh yeah, I also forgot that there was like a lot of time in which between when Kaiser was selected to be a princess of Jihad and now. I like how there's a doubt in the Kun's like, but like not our boy. Oh yeah, there's also a hidden ability. I totally forgot about that, but it was something that bested Endorsi. So like we should at least be a little bit cautious, I say, as he runs straight ahead. Okay, oh cool. We got like the armor, the like shield thing. Yeah, he is not to be messed with. I like that he's just like whipping around, like agility. Look at him. I could never. I also love the like type, right? Like it's talking about like where he got all these different abilities, where he's learned things. But I also think it is really interesting to have this moment in which Bum isn't talking about trying to empathize or having like a conversation. We've seen that before in like other face-offs with him, right? Of like him wanting to converse with the person he's up against, understand them, empathize with them. And this is him being like, I have too much riding on this. I need to win this fight. I don't have time. Like I'm just gonna go for it. And showing him like basically no breaks in the way that he's like going at this fight, I think really shows the fact that he's, I understand that I'm gonna have to just put everything I have into this. It does look cool though. Agreed. Most impressive. Also should be pointed out that the abilities that were like showing where he got them from are some of the most powerful people we've seen. I think that really shows kind of that like refined use, is that he's mimicking the styles of people who have spent a significant amount of time honing those abilities. Oh, are we trying to understand our opponent after I just said that's not what we're doing this time? I think it's a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black here, Bomb. You did stay with Foog for a long time, even though you knew it was bad. Oh, no, that's not what he experienced. But it's nice that you had a lot of love growing up. That's not what Bomb went through, though. Oh, see, that's hard, though. The fact that you're talking about, like, almost like a conditional, right? Talking about how people praised her because she was powerful, because she was skilled, because she was going to become this Princess of Jihad. It's right. It's like how she was kind of deconstructing Bomb, right? Of being like, oh, this is this gem that is being refined, Foog, right? By this group of people who probably gave him a lot of love growing up, right? That is someone seeing you as a useful tool. And that's what she's equating with love. And that's not the same thing, right? Like those are two distinct different things. And I think that's part of the reason like she's trying to continue to make herself useful, right? Like making a bunch of money for her family is like continuing to be a useful tool in their lives instead of having people actually care about her. Ooh, they were losers is quite a way to describe that. I was the winner until you lost, until you weren't the favorite anymore. He does have more responsibility, but I don't think he would call himself the winner. All right, okay, I do agree with the unconditional love doesn't exist, but hear me out. Not in a cynical, everyone should be useful kind of way. In a, if it turns out that you did something that I disagree with fundamentally, I have the right to take back my love, okay? And that if someone would like that back, they're gonna have to earn it, okay? That's my take on all love is conditional, is that give your love to good people. Oof. You're equating a lot on your usefulness to other people. Yes, we had the invisible inventory stuff. Oh, which we can see and he can't. But he's got that spidey sense going on, so it's fine. Again, no copyrights intended. I think you're barking up the wrong tree. Like, I feel like your family isn't worth it. The families in general, I'm like, ooh, they are not going to forgive you if you mess up. That is not what we have seen. Also, if you've spent 1,000 years trying to earn back someone's forgiveness and it still hasn't worked, I think it might be time to move on. I know that the time in the tower is different than for me as a mere mortal, but that's a lot. Yeah, I think you might also just be hiding. I think you might be like, you're not a failure here. If she leaves the station, then she's not powerful anymore. Like, she's not the person in charge. She's not the emperor of this little world. That's nice. It's nice that you thought everything was a blessing. I'm sure that went awry. Oh, yeah. You didn't realize that a bunch of other people were like holding you up. Stepping on other people to get to greater heights is a continuing motif. Yeah. I like that there's like this whole soliloquy happening with Kaiser, and Mom's just like, I am focused on other things. Yeah, didn't we see the like setup of a weapon? I feel like if there is like a clear path, probably a trap. If there's a clear weakness, I'd be wary. Are we getting a flashback to what's been going on with you? You lived. I like how Ron is also, you made it. Look, I don't want to be in line with a lot of what the Coon family of any of the families is like. The number of times I've said something only to then read a speech bubble that's one of the Coon family members saying the exact same thing is like more than a few nickels. So like that's cheating. I guess because we did have backup. And we never agreed on a one-on-one fight. It wasn't worth the rules. Is this a barbecue? What's this metaphor we're going for? Yeah, we're just setting up the fact that the Kaiser's like pretty strong. Can't see his eyes. I feel like it's gonna be a shift. Oh, interesting to again have like winner, right? Like the winner versus loser. And I guess it goes into the type, right? He likes a fight where there's going to be a challenge. He doesn't know what the outcome is, which is like a little bit unhinged, right? To be like, I like the idea that I'm getting into a fight that might get me killed or seriously injured. But we never said that anyone who decided to spend this much time traveling up the tower was like sane, emotionally stable, mentally stable. That's never what we usually encounter. Oh, so we're gonna see real power once all of the normal tricks don't work. I'm sure that is not foreshadowing of anything that is going to happen in the near future. It's probably fine. Oh, right. We also had that. I forgot the family tie. Right. It's probably fine. It's not fine. So, oh, is we getting like a wolf? Because we had the family. The family name was related to wolves. That's pretty cool. Terrifying. I'd rather not fight the wolf. But I like that we foreshadowed some of that. The fact that it's rip him to shreds. Like, that's the only command. Cool. Once we get bitten. Why? What's this foreshadowing? Why? Is it poisonous? Is it kind of like the shadow link where it's once the shadow is morphed with your shadow, you like can't escape or whatever, right? Like we have the fox. I don't think it is. I don't think it's over. I think that our boy still got maybe a chance. He's our protagonist. We still have like hundreds and hundreds of chapters. Okay, puppy, let's see how this goes. Are we still going violet? I was thinking that. I'm like, we have the long hair wig again. Have we not moved on? I can't keep track of who knows him as VLA and who knows him as Bomb. I get that he's in the system as VLA, but I don't know. Names, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think we should be worried about the giant bite in your arm. Even if it wasn't, there's something funky going on with it, right? There's something going on that is connected to that bite and the fact that it's going to be like, I don't know, binding in some way or something. There's some reason that people are like, that's the end of the bite. Even without that, I feel like getting a horrific bite from a wolf is probably not a fun time. Yeah, I feel like that might be an issue that we want to also deal with, just in general. Thank you for someone being worried about it. Isn't he like not allowed? There's like a whole like vaporizing thing that would happen or whatever. Oh yeah, no, that is also part of this, isn't it? I think it's just like the Shinsu upgrade. That's a cool shot. Just so you don't think he's a real wolf. No. I think the fact that he's like glowing is giving away the fact that it's not a real wolf. Okay, so we were like extra special. Okay, so you really have been born special. No wonder you're disappointed by the fact that you were then told, actually, you're not special anymore. Pierce the skin of even most rankers. Dang. I guess we have, like, Bomb getting hurt, but still. Oh, okay, so the only option is you have to heal me or we have to kill you. Gotcha, so that's kind of like the end of the fight, right? Is that, like, you'll bleed out? Yeah. Yeah, also, like, fighting while you're bleeding out is also not a great time. You knew it. You knew and you weren't passing that along? Again, the number of times I have said something only to then have a member of the Coon family say that exact same thing. I'd have a lot of nickels. I like useless. Useless. Couldn't even tell us that information before now. Oof, that's a cool image with the like, almost like pool of blood under him. Useless. Can't even remember the important information when we need him. I don't know. He usually does some crazy things. We need to not get attacked again. But also all of the weapons that we can't see. Yo, that's a cool shot. Like the weapons from below. And then, what? Fenril? Am I even saying that anywhere close to correct? I don't know. Fenril? Maybe? But it's a cool shot to have those two, like, directions that he's having to defend against. That's a cool shot, too. Especially with all the, like, blue from his ability. And then you have the reds accenting it. Oh? Yeah, do we get something? Something to throw us off balance? Another ability? Secret weapon of sorts? Did we manage to not get chomped? I could not go on forever. You are going to bleed out at some point. Yeah, but the whole trap is set, right? Yes, convenient information. Can you remember the other one? Of course. That's not really how they roll. I love how ready he is to be like, if we have to fight to the death, I guess we just have to. They don't need to find the hostages now, so he's, what else am I supposed to do for the next however long? You'll burn yourself up since this is the end. What, because we're just like assuming Bomb's gonna lose? Also, yes, we're using a second one, which seems like a really bad idea. You already were asleep for a good chunk of this story. It's already too late. He's gone Super Saiyan again. Yeah, remember when I said that, like, he doesn't seem the most sane, that he finds more enjoyment in a fight if it means he might die? Point. Look at that grin. Honestly. Y'all need to stop trying to kill each other. I say, like, generally, to the cast of this series. There's a lot going on. So much. Ooh, yeah. Did we think about the people getting caught in the crossfire? Probably not. He'll figure it out. Ooh, wait, he's part of the family. That's a cool shot, though. Like, all the lightning and the blues and then the red in contrast. Even, like, the, like, blood, like, trailing around. But I need you to not kill him. We like Tiny Kun. Ooh. That's so interesting, too, for someone who's, like, a swordsman to be like, I don't have any strength left in my hands. Like, when you're so tired and you're so beaten down, you can't control the movement of that anymore. Thank you for catching him. Wow. You've been through it, my guy. That's so crazy to be like, sorry, I couldn't live up to your expectations. Like, one is just like a passive aggressive thing, but then also in contrast to the way that Kaiser looks at the family is also like a crazy, like, double line for that of being like the need to like measure up to someone's expectations and failing. Layers. Yeah, your family didn't come and get you. Oh, the whole like direct descendant thing. It is interesting though to have someone who's, hey, my family doesn't care about me. I've been like cast off because I don't measure up, to then have Kaiser be like, fine, you can stay. Could have killed him, right? And moved on, or sold him anyway, or whatever, right? But then to have that switch of, oh, because your family doesn't want you, because you're not like important enough, right? You're not special enough for someone to want you around. It's almost like you get to be special here though, right? Like you get to be someone of importance here, because this is like a kind of like mock version of the tower and like the families and everything, right? Where like Kaiser gets to be the most special one and not a failure. Again, kind of building on that, like being born a failure in contrast to being born as like special and then failing. Interesting, like dynamic to have everything, two kind of opposite upbringings, right? Yeah, if I were part of your family, I would try to get you back. Would you though? You did openly say you stepped on a lot of people to be able to get to where you're at. Like they're losers and you're a winner. Yeah. Interesting too to have this fall and to be like, I finally understand. I've met someone who can see me as someone for my abilities and not because of my name and not because of the fact that I don't fit properly. Like again, like titles and everything getting in the way of like actually seeing what his worth is as just like someone with skills and abilities, and have that in contrast of him like seeing that as he's falling, he's seeing that Run, who is from one of the families, who is part of the main line, who is like getting support and victorious, right? As he's like, there's physical distance being put between the two of them as he loses this fight, is like a wild image. That's a crazy thing to end off this chapter on as well. Wow. Look, for all of me just loving parts of the story and like the characters and the world building, all of that, there's so much good just writing. There's so much good just setup of stuff. I love the payoff of so many things in the story. It's so good. It makes the writer part of my brain so happy. I do find it like so interesting, like the layers that we've gotten in this, like not just in terms of like understanding like who Kaiser is and like where this kind of ability comes from, of like someone who's born special, inherently special. They have this ability that has been passed down through the family that is part of what has made them like worthy of carrying on like the family name or whatever, to then be cast aside, to have failed that, to have that not be like enough to earn their family's love, to earn her family's love, is really interesting in contrast to someone who is not, is basically born to fail, right? Like someone who is not important enough for the family to acknowledge them, for the family to rescue them, to care about what happens to them. And it's almost like here, as long as you have a name, you're important, you're special, right? But like with still a ton of the crazy power structures that exist in the rest of the tower, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that this station is good. There is still that whole owning people thing, selling people thing, right? So it's not like it's inherently better. It's just, I understand why it's set up the way that it is, right? Like it's a mock version of what's happening with the families in the tower, in which Kaiser is no longer a failure. There's only success in like her story as she's on the station, but it's also trying to prove something, right? Like it's almost like if I set up the same dynamics as the rest of the tower and I'm a success and I never fail, then I've proven myself to still be special, right? And that my family will have to then forgive me because I am special enough. I've proven myself. It's such an interesting thing. And again, to have that in contrast with like people who are born to not be important enough to be acknowledged and have that like physical distance happening as like another failure happens, right? Of like losers versus winners, and having so much of that difference between winners and losers, and it being very binary, right? This or that, black or white. And I think that's really interesting, especially with someone like Bum, whose like whole journey has been like the moral dilemmas of Bum, right? Of having power, having ability, having authority, having people look up to you, right? Being treated as like a god by some and having so much potential, right? There are so many people who have like ideas of what Bum could be, and like he does have the ability to do so much stuff, and he's like, what do I do with that? What's the right path forward? And there isn't like a this or that for him anymore, right? Like it used to be like, oh, I'm following Rachel, I'm gonna help her. That was like his only guiding star for so long. And then to have now where like he's having to find like the nuances of that, I think it's really interesting to have that in contrast, especially since Bum was not born, to his knowledge, to be special. He was born like in isolation by himself. Having Kaiser be like, oh, I'm sure that you understand the concept of like growing up with a lot of love, right? Being in an environment in which a lot of love was shown to you. And he's no, unless you count Rachel, like the one person who like at least made him feel like she cared about him. But that's not the same as like this complete isolation that we've seen from him for so much of the flashbacks for him. So it's really fascinating. I feel like there are so many different layers, and the story's going to give me more to work with as well. Like I was saying, there's a part of my writer brain that is excited about like the way that so much of the story comes together and the payoff of so many things. And like I've read so many chapters, right? I'm so like far down the rabbit hole of going through the series that it's so interesting how much has been paid off, right? Like even going back and watching the anime, which is like adapting previous stuff and realizing a bunch of stuff that was set up. And I'm like, oh, we're still talking about those themes and those concepts. It's just like further developed at the point that I'm at going through the webtoon. And that's just go writing, right? That's just, the art is always popping off now. It's like, there's so many great panels of just, especially with the fight choreography. Like I don't have as much to say about that, but like it just looks really cool. I don't know, maybe I'm just in love with the series and therefore I am too biased to have a full opinion of it, but I think that there are so many great themes that just continue to get built up. And I like that I'm far enough in the series now that I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see a bunch of the grander scale of everything that's been put together, and it's really fun. But I hope you enjoyed reading that along with me. You can click this playlist to go into my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to me next time I post a Tower of God reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.